It's 64 boy.
Scratch.
Dressing the culture, I'm adjusting the culture, huh? Adjusting the culture, I'm adjusting the culture, huh? Adjusting the culture, I'm adjusting the culture, huh? Adjusting the culture, I'm adjusting the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come adjust the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come adjust the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come adjust the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come and adjust the culture, huh?
Brick by brick, you get your boy Big Wall.
And this is your man P.stock, and we ready to address the culture tonight, y'all.
Yeah.
We ready for it. You know, this
yeah.
is address the culture.
You already
Big
know the
Wall
vibes.
and P.stock.
We are here.
We're
You
here.
ready, P?
We're here.
You know what
We're
I'm talking
here.
about?
We're here and we ready. You know, we ready to go. You know, and coming in. You know, and a big shout out. You know, something I haven't been doing. You know what I'm used to doing. Big shout out to Aladdin 19. Big shout out to the crew. Dr. Richard I Freedom TV, 2K Kent, Young NAZ, we'll holler. You know, Big Lex Luger, the Backwood Ambassador. Big shout out to Lex. You know, give everybody a shout out, supporting. You know, addressing the culture, and some of these people we're gonna bring in, and we're gonna talk to them too. You know, because it's very important.
It is.
You know,
We're gonna talk about everybody. You know what I'm saying, and everything. You know what I'm saying. But we are here to address the culture. I want to give a shout out to Stacking Up Entertainment, the whole Addressing the Culture Network team. You know what I'm saying. You already know the vibes, the networking queen. Everybody, we are tapped in. Just TV, we global. You know what I'm saying. And we got some things we want to talk about. But before we get into that, you know what I'm saying. Yes. I want to talk to you, P. How you been doing, man? What's going on in the world of P.stock?
Just busy, man. Just busy. You know, outside of, you know, still, you know, always dabbling in music and video stuff, which, you know, is my passion with stuff. You know, always working on something. But, you know, that's coming from the iFreedom TV platform.
Yeah.
You know, we look at the human rights and what's going on with Lao. And me and you know, on Saturday we had that deep conversation. I think we both was fired up off of that, you know, but you know, and that's a part of the thing, and that's good, and that spurs me. So I was watching, you know, paying attention to you know, what's going on, listening. Like I do, watch, listen, learn. I love learning. That's the way I go and everything. And last week, you know, I mean, people, you know, some people say, "Oh, you ranted about kids disciplining their children and everything else," and I said, "Yeah, it's important, you know, and built on top of that, you know, is for safety because the AP, Associated Press, they did a study and they pulled 3,000 cases of excessive police force." Being used on 3,000 different cases, okay? Half of the cases, 1,500, were African-American males. You know, African-American, under the age of 16.
But that's not racism. You know, it's their fault. You know what I mean?
It's their fault. It's their fault. That's like what happened, and I think in Illinois, might have been Chicago, I'm not sure of the town, a 15-year-old that was mentally, you know, had mental handicap.
Absolutely.
Was riding his bike.
Yeah.
You know, and he just happened to ride his bike through an area that they really don't want you to ride on the sidewalks. You know, and I forget where that was. And the police followed him home, chased him home, ran in his house, and slammed him on the floor and handcuffed him in his own house. And he ain't know what was going on.
Yeah.
You know, so that's when we talk about excessive force, and that's where I talk about disciplining your kids.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where I say lightening up, because it takes the village, and that's real talk. It takes the village to raise these kids.
Absolutely.
To raise the people, because you're in the house doing what you do. That's fine. You know, whatever you do is private. Enjoy yourself. But if you got kids out there and you don't know what they into and you don't know what they're doing, you know, they can run into these situations. They can run into a bad situation with all the shootings going on and something popping off. You know, they can run into not listening, thinking they know, being smart mouth to older adults or whatever that's trying to help them and protect them and keep them out of harm's way, you know, not knowing, and then wind up something happened to them. You know, that's why I strive hard on that discipline with your kids. You know, when your kids is away, they represent you. So if they out there cutting up, that's what they gonna look at you as. You know, and I ain't talking about the police. I'm talking about your neighbors. You know, your community,
and your community. And you
your
took
community.
the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's a fine line, though. You know what I mean? Because we talked about this last week, and we got some people. We got a little backlash. You know, they didn't like how we came off when we talk about disciplining kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, when we talk about disciplining kids, we're speaking from the kids that needs to be disciplined, or can take that discipline in a right way. Now, there's some kids out here that can be disciplined, and it don't matter. They just want to do what they want to do, and they just bad seeds, and that is a thing. When you can discipline, you can punish them, you can try to teach them the right way, and they still want to do what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about those. We're not talking about
saying all of that. But in that too, and saying that, and you're right, dead on about that. With a lot of kids that's out of control, and they're just not, you know, responding. But change their diets. Take them off that processed food. That stuff is what's doing it. It's creating chemical imbalances in these children, you know, in these kids, and they're really, really trying to treat everything with medicine. You know,
but what if that don't work? What if that don't work? What if you didn't came to a place, P, where you didn't change the diet, you didn't adjust it how you are, you know what I'm saying? You didn't did the medicine, like whatever it took to try to get your child on the right track, and it's not working. In those situations, what do you say to that parent? Because it's a lot of them out here. You know what I mean?
I agree. The streets swallow them up. Swallow them up. So I mean, you gotta, you know, that's your seed. That's your child. So you want that child to go further and further than you ever did in life. That's the way you think. You know, go to school. So you gotta. That's, in my opinion, in those cases. And I mean, and I know exactly what you're talking about because I experienced it with relatives and their children.
I personally experienced it. You know what I mean? From personal experience. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just get that child that no matter how you do it, because, you know, as a parent, it's hard for you to, you know, take a look at yourself and say, okay, is it something that I'm doing? You know what I'm saying? Is it something that I can do to improve the relationship with my child? And if you're vulnerable enough to acknowledge it and bring it down, to be willing to do whatever it takes to get that child on the right track, and that child is still not receptive to it, then you find yourself in a situation where people don't understand, you know, and then people give you those same things. Okay, do this, do that, and do this, and you like, oh, I've done all of that. You know, you have to be in my shoes to understand where I'm at. Like, do you want to raise my child? Like, okay, you get them, you're gonna want to send them back. Trust me. You know what I'm talking about? You're gonna see real fast what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about? And it be those type of situations, brother. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's that gray area. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought that. You know what I'm saying? God put a child like that with me to change my mentality to make me understand, because I thought it was, hey, discipline. You know, stay hard on them. You know, be firm and and they gonna get dog. No. Some kids are mutants. You know what I'm talking about? And it just don't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Do what they want to do,
regardless.
And the only thing you can do is just hope they stay safe and don't hurt themselves, get themselves hurt, or hurt anybody else, and that they're okay. You know, because that's your child, and maybe in that way, because, you know, you're right. Because my wife has a niece, you know, her brother's daughter, and that she was like that. No matter what you did, you beat her. you whatever.
Talk to her.
She'll take that beating.
Yeah.
As long as she get to do what she wanted to do, she ain't care.
Yeah, that's a
fact.
fact.
Go and be gone, stay at a friend's house for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, until they get tired and come home and then, you know, decide to come home and go to school or whatever they're going to do.
Yeah.
But she did that. And now, you know, she has her own, a part of what she wanted to do. She's doing it today, you know, and she has a child now, and she's doing so. I think she's getting a lot of backlash from that.
Yeah.
But she still has her own platform, because I was actually surprised when and she told me, I talked to her. And we both knew. I said, you know, you're not the nurturing type, you know, that's your child. And she'd be the first to tell you.
Yeah.
You know. So now she has a little hellion, you know, and she's still doing her thing, what she have to do. But she has him, you know, that she's carrying, that, you know, that's her child. She knows she got to be responsible. And the older she get, the more responsible she's getting. But a lot of times with a lot of parents, for those certain kids to keep them going, we always stress, you know, when your child's start 1 year old and start walking and everything else, what they call, you hear, because the big mamas, there ain't a lot of big mamas anymore, you know.
Nah.
So
big
they
mama in the club now. You feel?
Big mamas in the club. You know, big mamas doing bikini hauls on YouTube.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So you know, that's where that's going. But just for that fact, you know, whenever they won, because your grandmother and mom say, I know you ain't stretching out on your mom. You know, they used to say stretch out. You stretch out, they pluck them legs or pluck that head and start that young, like touching stuff that ain't yours, smack them on the hand, because my wife's grandmother, when them kids go to the house and she have all them glass knickknacks on the table and wouldn't blink at them, because any kid that came in there, the first time they reached for something, they got hit with that cane.
Oh, man.
Right on the head. Yeah, so fast.
And it's a no look. It's a no look too. Like she don't even look your way. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
And then they become the ones to warn the other kids. Hey, ain't that nice? That's grandma's. Don't.
Yeah.
You know how you do that? We just sit there and laugh. But you know, the little things like that to start, you know, the discipline factor with kids, you know, and like you said, there's some that you can't reach, and even with some, like, you know, they talk about the single mothers and everything else. So some of these single women raise some fine men today. You know, a lot of them have, not some, a lot have.
They say that, you know, that it's a stigma that they say a woman can't raise a man and a man can't raise a woman. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Which I do get it, because there's some things that, you know, a man can teach a young boy, and vice versa when it comes to women. But let's not get it twisted. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
It's just as easy for you to raise somebody that's the opposite sex of you too, because when you think about it, men and women, we are the top relationship on this planet. That's why I don't understand why people don't give the man-woman relationship the respect on this planet. That is the number one relationship. Not the guys and the girls kicking. No, the best top relationship on this planet is between a man and a woman. You know what I'm saying?
Every day.
That's it. You know, and it don't get the respect that it should. You know, men respect their relationship with their guys more than they respect their relationship with their women, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about those type of things, how can a man raise a woman? You know what I'm saying? How come a woman can't raise a man? Because that relationship is the most important. Like when you got a little girl, if a male raise a woman, 9 times out of 10, she gonna look for somebody that reminds her of her father. You know what I'm saying? In so many ways. And for a man, if you got a good mom, you looking for a woman with the characteristics of your mother. Like, let's be real. Let's be clear. So I never understood that P.stock. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And that's big with that, because there's a lot of things, and you can't break down, you know, for them, and they drove the wedge through and broke that the black family all up.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing. So and that was a part of the plan. That's by design.
Absolutely.
It's by design.
Absolutely.
So now it's up to us to pick up the pieces and go and try to discipline. That's why I don't have no problem. And it's scary today too, where you try to help out young kids. Like I'm saying, you try to talk to them and say, no, don't, check this out, do this, go this route. And they look at you like they're crazy or they tell they want to go home and tell you, Dad, what you say to my kid?
No.
I was trying to, and a lot of times the parents are so young. No, this was getting ready to happen, but we had to. I was trying to tell him, don't do that. He can get hurt. This could happen. That could happen. Whatever. And if they say, oh, okay, tell them, see, okay, good looking out, and I'm gonna take care of that. Get your butt home, and we'll deal with this. Or the ones sit there and argue, no, you don't tell my kid nothing. Okay, I won't tell your kid nothing.
That'd be the ones that get me. You know what I mean? Not the ones that, okay, if you telling my child wrong or you putting your hands on my child, I get that. Because it's a lot of people out here, adults, that aren't responsible, that will take their family or their loved one's opinion over whoever, no matter if they're right or wrong. So them the type of people who I don't want speaking to my child, disciplining my child, because your opinion is viewed. But we're talking about the people who are logical, the people who are seeing your child out here doing something wrong, and they are literally trying to correct them in a positive way. That type of mentality should be encouraged. You know what I mean? Exactly. That's that village mentality, but people then got lost because they so caught up in what they want or how they feel their kids should be, and not really realizing how your kids is when you're not around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I tell you what, the number one person, a lot of times you want to find out the truth.
Yeah.
About the young men and some of the young ladies. If you out there, you talk to the youth coaches, the good, serious youth sports coaches that got to go out in these communities, especially the black baseball coaches, black baseball coaches, because there's very few of us that you can get out there playing, and they get to see. He said, well, a good friend of mine, somebody I like to bring on here too. He got a lot to address the culture about, and he's blessed too. But he coaches baseball, and he got kids that excel at it and everything else in sport, whatever, and going forward. But dealing with the kids, the youth, like where he helping kids, he says, man, these kids out at midnight shooting guns in the air and stealing.
Oh man.
Around doing that stuff. And he says, man, they're great athletes. And he said, and I don't understand, it's the parents, always the parents. When it comes down to it, the parents not, putting down that discipline and making that happen. But yeah, we're gonna take this quick break. Check this out. It's very interesting, and definitely follow us and Big Wall, Address the Culture, iHipHop TV. But check out this quick break, and we'll be right back with you.
64 boy.
Scratch. Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come address the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come address the
culture. Brick by brick, you get your boy Big Wall
and P.stock here. For addressing the culture, it's that time.
Check out iHipHopTV.com on YouTube.
iHipHop TV with your boy Big Wall and P.stock. Now we was talking about, discipline your kids. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Getting them in line, because it's a whole lot of discrepancies going on when you talk about just how to discipline your kids and how to keep them on a straight and narrow. Now, P, you said you found this list of all the infractions when we talk about discipline from the police, right?
Right. Out of the 3,000, from according to the AP, 1,500, half were kids. That's black kids under the age of 16 that they were being forced. They're quicker to use force on our children than anybody else's. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And the sad part about that is most cities and townships or municipalities don't have rules against using force with kids. There's no rules in place. So they can go ahead and do whatever because they're lax, So they'll treat a 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old kid like a 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old man.
With no problem.
And older than that, as you see.
Yeah.
We're fair. I guess when they see us, they see devils and demons and stuff, but
they're scared. That's what it is.
We're scared.
They're terrified.
Scared.
Yeah.
Unarmed persons sitting there minding their business, and they're terrified.
And you walking up with a gun, a taser, handcuffs, a baton, mace, like you coming up looking like RoboCop, but you scared of me. You feel?
Yeah,
that's so convenient, ain't it?
And that's the problem, So that's where we talk about stress. Discipline your kids, because they used to always say, if you don't discipline your kids, the streets will. You're right, the streets, the police, they're in them streets. So
and the graveyards.
And the graveyards, exactly. Yeah. But leading up to that, and I know it's hard, and I want to take your time, but also and going on with those communities with the way the police force, and everybody should know the police evolved from slave catchers, and that's what they are still today.
That's how they started.
That's how it started. Yep.
Yeah.
And they would take the ones that were the lowest that were coming into the country and immigrants and the poorest, and they take those jobs.
The Irish.
The Irish. Yep. Mainly the Irish back then.
Yeah.
Because they came from Ireland, from the families. There was 2 migrations from Ireland, so there was an earlier one, and then a bigger one came later, and that was that one that impacted, that made the impact with these police forces and stuff that come up there and discriminate, and hate for some reason black people.
With that mentality, are you surprised the fact of where they started from, the mentality that they still have in executing us? Because that's what it is. People say they're killing us. They are executing us. You know what I'm saying? Assassinating us.
They're assassinating us, like in the streets, doing that way, and they're killing us in the environment as well.
Yeah.
So and that was one of the things that ties in. Everything ties in. I try everything that ties in, and with that, with your communities where they're at most of the time. If you look at cities, especially in the West, like Portland, Oregon, and Seattle and the places the black places in any city, Chicago, New York, wherever you go, especially Cincinnati, wherever, the black people's communities was always the less thought of anyway. Or a lot of them, especially in Portland, they built highways through the community, disrupted the whole communities. Didn't care where you went. The eminent domains, your neighborhood, then you got to go to wherever everybody else is. So it kind of steers all the black people into one area where they can afford to live and function. And then in that area, you get the worst service, you get the worst last of everything. And that's transcended into what back in 1982, the former NAACP, Ben Chavez, coined the term in 82, environmental racism. So that's that long ago, 30 years when they was talking about environmental racism, because they knew back then you're in your community, the plumbing's bad. So you got lead in the pipes, you got Flint, Michigan, you got Benton Harbor.
And they water still bad.
Yeah.
They still ain't got no clean water in Flint.
No.
No. And it's a design. Like, you can go to any city in the world. You could go to any small rural town. It's always a small area in whatever city, whatever town, where it's low income and it's our people.
Yeah.
And that area, don't get none of the schooling. They don't get none of the finances. They don't get none of the respect. The police, the food, the restaurants are horrible. The produce is horrible in that area, in every place in the world.
In the world, even to the supermarkets. Like you live in a supermarket, like you mentioned, and your supermarket you go to in your neighborhood gets its meat and stuff where they're trying to sell it to you as fresh, but they're taking it out to one uptown that they ain't sell yet and redating it and stamping it and sending it down to you.
Yeah.
You know, so you get in your community, so it's older. Some places they was getting caught putting dye in there and everything else. And the same thing with the communities where you live. A lot of time, check it. Used to be some chemical plant. The ground has got chemicals. You know, Cancer Alley down Louisiana. You know, that's what happens, and that's communities that we get forced into, and cities, like you said, all across this country. You know, that we're forced into, and the environment is bad, and then climate change is impacting it as well.
Absolutely, and you know what's even crazy about it, P, that they do that to our communities, and when they tired of it, that they utilized it and knocked it down to the point where now they can come buy it at a cheaper cost.
Yep.
Then they kick us all out.
Yep.
Rebuild it back up, and now it's an expensive. And that's when you got the gentrification situations going on.
Gentrification.
You know what I'm saying? So
it's going on right now, bro.
Right now. You see what I'm saying? So they just do what they want to do. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And how they want to do it. They are able to give you the worst, knock it down so the price value is low, kick you out, raise the price value back up, move back in, and now it's a good area again. And now the produce is better, the schooling is better. This area got funded now, and they building stuff. When none of this available when it was a black neighborhood, but now all of a sudden it's money for this area, and the grass is growing, and everything is better. It's funny how the money started flowing. It ain't no potholes in the streets no more. You know what I'm talking about? Look at Brooklyn. Brooklyn.
Yeah, Brooklyn. They took it over. Bed-Stuy. You would have never known. Bed-Stuy.
Come on, man.
East, all that stuff. I mean, Brooklyn still got some big housing projects in those areas, but those areas around it, it's not the same. You know, the police patrol stepped up more. And
it's nice.
It's nice.
It's nice.
It's real nice.
It's real nice.
And Brooklyn was the fall off that you could fall down to, like in Wyckoff, around the projects downtown. You know, you could back then you could get a one bedroom for $600-800 a month.
Yeah.
Go down there.
Not anymore. You know what I'm talking about? And not only that, we're not there. You don't see, like, you can go look at Brooklyn and you can see white people now, like, jogging and running and going to the Starbucks, and like it's that environment now. You know what I'm saying? And you could go back to the 90s on St. James with Bigg, like they used to be rapping and literally doing bad things in them neighborhoods, and now those same neighborhoods are neighborhoods full of prosperous businesses, prosperous everything. And the reason they were doing the bad things, because this environment that they had us in, it was no options. They had to do these things to get to where.
James.
Come on,
St.
man.
James, all the places. Man. Yeah. You know, and I seen it when I was going up there. You know, you could see it, you know, and a big shout out to Henny Loke, you know, of St. James, you know, that Junior Mafia Fetty team. But the serious thing about that is I seen that when I was trapped up there when they had the power outage a couple of years that time, right? When all the power went out of New York, right? I mean, nothing was running. All those white people had to walk from Manhattan to Queens because they couldn't get, so they had to walk through Brooklyn. They had to walk through East New York.
Yeah.
They had to walk through Brownsville.
Yeah.
They had to walk all the way out of Atlantic, through Jamaica, whatever, going up there to get home. Yeah. After that, they said, we can't do this if they do that stuff. we got to be closer, so we got to move in, start selling our houses and getting matched for and buying, taking that money and flipping it into the city, you know, down on Bed-Stuy and everything, you know, because that's where We used to go down there. Artists go down there on the corner of Clausen and Fulton and Clausen. We used to go there to the barbershop, Ferg's barber shop, and all that. Boy, all that's different now.
Man, they did the same thing in Chicago, man. They tore down all the project buildings, spread it out everybody throughout the city, and it raised up the violence in the city because now the people who were contained in those certain areas, you know what I mean? Now they spread it out throughout the city, and now it turns up the heat in the city just to knock down those projects to build houses and apartments. Condos, you know what I'm saying? So the white people can move back into those areas because they want to be close to downtown.
The jobs and downtown and their cultural centers are all down there.
That's
but
exactly
just like
what they did.
So think about this though. The communities that they're vacating out there in the suburbs, these edge cities, because same thing going on here. And I already knew because San Francisco's probably the litmus test for this whole system, you know, like Manhattan, where if you don't make 150,000 a year or more, you can't afford. You can't even. There's people in San Francisco right now. You can make 110,000 a year and still eligible for Section 8 and other stuff like that. You know, and assistance. So that's telling you. And when I'm saying 150,000 a year, I'm talking about, and hopefully your wife's making 150,000 a year too, or more, or in that range. So y'all can go further. But the areas that they're vacating, that they're pushing the black people in, are those areas where there's already a lot of environmental damage from factories, especially in Pittsburgh, you know, from the mills, the mill towns, and they turned all those things into great places, built and waterfronts, and you know, all the upscale places, you know, that you know, the places that they like to go. Like I always tell people, you see a Starbucks come up, get ready to move.
Get ready to move.
Starbucks, they put a Starbucks where? On my corner?
Oh yeah.
Get ready to go, buddy. Get ready to go. Mr. Gonzalez sold out. Yeah, he sold out.
Mr. Gonzalez gone. He didn't move the whole bodega. It's gone.
Yeah, the whole bodega gone. He shut down. He moved across town. He took the $5 and he ran over there. You know? That's what they do. So, but anyway, you know, but that's what's happening. So moving into those communities, you know, and just like Chicago and everything, because there's a lot of industry that was there, especially that turn of the century. So now they're taking all those old abandoned buildings and turning them into $1 million properties, you know, $1 million properties in an abandoned building that they probably pay $70,000, $170,000 for it. You know,
but cheaper than that, because the price value of the property went down so low. So you're getting these properties for $10,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they ban these abandoned buildings, $10,000, $15,000. You know what I'm talking about? Taking it and putting $75,000 into it. You know what I'm saying? And now it's $150,000. You know what I'm saying?
All day long.
All day long. You know
here
what I'm saying?
In the city.
You can't knock the hustle, but it's terrible that we get the brunt. We get of the brutality. You know what I'm saying?
We don't want y'all here. Go over there. You know? And that's coming into the next topic I want to dive into. You know, I want to definitely get into this topic, and we're gonna check this out. We're gonna take this quick break, and we're gonna get into this quick ad. Check this out: iHipHop TV and Dress the Culture. Big Wall and P.stock.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
64 boy.
Scratch. Dressing the culture. I'm adjusting the culture, huh? Adjusting the culture. I'm adjusting the culture, huh? Adjusting the culture. I'm adjusting the culture, huh? Adjusting the culture. I'm adjusting the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come adjust the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come adjust the culture.
Brick by brick, you get your boy Big Wall
and P.stock here. You know, for addressing the culture. It's that time. Address the Culture. This is P.stock with Big Wall, and we're busting it up, about cultural things here that affect us and affect, in any culture. I mean, to think that what don't affect us isn't going to affect the other groups, you're insane.
Come on, man.
You're insane to even think that.
Come on, man.
What affects us, they gaff off and gaff off. We've seen it with the crack epidemic, and they gaff off. Now they popping pills like chiclets, M&Ms.
Not chiclets.
Yeah, like chiclets,
like Skittles. You know what I'm talking about?
Skittles.
Yeah. But look, but just a sidebar for that, because we're gonna address the culture. You know what I'm saying? And when we speak about that epidemic, the pills, they are treating that like it's the worst pandemic that didn't hit the culture ever. And you know why? Because the pill game are affecting the white kids. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So they making it an issue. The crack epidemic affected black people. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't care about it. They didn't get them help. They didn't send them to rehab. They didn't want understanding for the crackheads. They wanted to lock them up. They wanted to fill up all them prisons that they spent all their money with us.
Money.
You know what I'm saying? But for this epidemic, they want to give them rehab. They want to understand them. They want to help them, get through their addiction. You know what I'm saying? And they're not keeping the same energy that they gave with us. And it's just more of the same. We talk about the environmental racism, the systemic racism, just across the board that seems to affect our people. You know what I'm saying, P?
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, and the baddest part about it is like the war on drugs and everything. The only people that believe in the war on drugs, I guess, is white people.
Yeah,
there ain't no war on drugs. The wars end.
Yeah.
This thing is going on forever. And the worst drug is alcohol. First, get it right.
Yeah,
it's legal.
yeah.
That's
But
the worst.
They tried with alcohol with us first. They tried it, but it didn't work. They seen that we was able to drink and still get up and function. You know what I'm saying? They was like, oh, okay, the alcohol is not working. Now let's cook up some crack. And then crack kind of it took us under. You know what I'm saying?
They showed them how to do that. They made cocaine cheap. At that time in the 80s, they made cocaine so cheap that, I mean, it was crazy. It had us killing each other and on the streets, shooting as well, killing each other.
Yeah, over the money. Because then it became, not only did you have to deal with the people addicted, now you got to deal with the drug dealers fighting over territory, trying to make money off of it because of the whole system that they built. You know what I mean? They made it so just a cesspool of violence and money and addiction. You know what I mean? Like when you put that type of people like a piranha in a tank, and you drop a steak up in there, you know what I'm saying? They finna be going crazy up in there, and that's the environment that they built for us. You know what I'm saying? And it hasn't stopped, to be honest. It slowed down, but it ain't stopped.
It ain't stopped, and that's the whole thing. And I'm the type, and most of us, I would assume, because I mean, we're not above it. I mean, I know black people that get addicted to popping pills too.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But here's the thing. You get some major surgery, come out of major surgery, and the only thing they can give you is some aspirin. Take this Tylenol and take this. You in pain because they did cut through muscles and ligaments and everything else. And normally in the past, they give you a Vicodin or
Tylenol
3s, anything. Because I'm not if I come, even in the dentist, if I had tooth extracted, the first day I take whatever I take to get up. In the second day, I'm cool. I'm drinking whatever. I don't need the pills. I'm good. I'm cool.
Me too. I really don't like it. If I'm popping pills, it's a need. Like I'm in pain. Like I definitely try to fight through it myself. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I can't do it if it's above and beyond that. So I get that. Yeah. But don't make us suffer because y'all can't handle them pills. Yeah. Man. Because there's people out there that can and do need them for a brief second. until they get better and then move forward, and recuperate, on their own. And then, and all of that is being said too, leading into what I want to discuss now and this is something too, where, especially with Black women and brown women, they catch a lot of flack for it, for attitudes and everything else. And, there's some people.
Angry Black women is what they say.
Angry Black women and everything else. Well, I'm here to tell you, Black women, brown women do have a reason to be angry.
Absolutely.
Especially Black women, especially when it comes to healthcare, and this country, the United States, where everything's first class, but, everything's the greater, the best of everything, except, mortality rate, infant mortality rate here, especially amongst our people, is what they call third world mentality. In third world nations, they don't have infant mortality rate like we do. So again, it's by design, and there's an issue with it, but we'll deal with it. But, learning information, because I always study, because I have granddaughters and a wife and everything. So I'm always peeping that stuff in medical. And I did take anatomy and physiology. I was studying one time and said, I'm like, no, I can't do this. It's just too much. But so I know a little bit about it. But like with women between the ages of 18 and 30, which is a vital age, especially for the Black, you're active, however you're active, and with your school age and everything else, to 30, where you're establishing yourself after college or after school or in your career that you chose to go from there. But they suffer from what they call fibroids, and a lot of people may notice, but we can't stress it because a lot don't. So, so you never can say it enough. Stay on top of it, get yourself checked, and believe it, and I don't have nothing against white folks or white people.
Yeah, me neither. It's really not about white folks.
No, it's not about white folks.
It's really not.
It's not about you. But the thing is, when I was in, and this is true, when I was doing anatomy and physiology, okay, the woman that was teaching the course, and this was at a community college, and she said, if I was African American, I would seek medical from African American doctors and medical and everything else. That's coming from the instructor. That's a doctor, or doctor with the physician assistants, PA, or whatever they are, that's teaching, that's practiced and everything else. So that's, that told me a lot right there. And I agree. So, and that's what I'm saying. If you can, go out and get yourself a Black doctor. If you can, in your area, go out and find the doctors that you wish that are Black, that can help you get along you want to. And it's not anything else. If you can't, it's fine. Get your medical. I'm not saying don't go or whatever, but that tells me something. And when I lived in Maryland, I got treated, and it's funny because a good friend of mine and his wife come down there, and they always talk about it. When you go to Maryland, and it's probably like that in parts of Chicago, but Maryland, with all the money that's floating around there in the DC suburb, and there's a lot of African doctors there, Nigerian, that got their private practice. I know whole families of them, as well as Black doctors and everything else. What's her name? I want to say she was an Olympian, Debbie Thomas. She became a doctor.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of African American doctors out in the community, and dentists and everything else, because like that teacher told me, they know more about your systems and your bodies than you. Our systems,
and not only that, do they know more about it? They are willing to listen to you, because a lot of African American Black women, they complain that when they go to these hospitals and doctor's appointments, and they complain about the fibroids, they complain about pain, they complain about certain things, and the physicians don't take them seriously. They tell them what they feeling ain't right. They make up all these different excuses, and a lot of women are dying. You know what I'm saying? Especially delivering babies. Like they be having issues when they deliver.
Number one issue.
They be having issues. Serena Williams came out and was talking about she almost literally died delivering her child because the doctor didn't want to take her seriously about her pain and what she was feeling. You know what I'm saying? So it's a real issue. And again, it just comes back to just the systemic racism that we face across the board. It's not one specific area that affects us when we talk about racism. It's just across the board. And our Black women, like you said, our brown sisters, they have a reason to be upset because they are not being valued, they are not being listened to, they are not being taken care of. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that definitely needs to be addressed.
It definitely needs to be addressed because with the fibroids, you know, when you hear younger women talking about fatigue, I'm tired, back pain, you know, heavy periods, you know, especially pain during sex,
intercourse,
you know, that right there are signs. You know, you got issues, go check these out. You know, go to a doctor, get that checked out, get that taken care of.
But they do, and they go get it checked out.
But they go to the wrong doctor.
They go to, and that's why what you said that doctor said, going to a black doctor. You know what I'm saying? Because
if you got healthcare insurance, they have a directory of doctors.
Yeah.
You call up and you can break it down to, okay, which ones are African American? Which ones are African? And they'll pinpoint which ones it is. And then it's up to you. Might be someplace that's a little bit out the way, but it's worth it. Make it a day. Make it a day off or a half a day off of work or whatever you got to do. But take care of your health. You got to step up. And that's not to say, there aren't good Middle Eastern doctors out there. There's good Asian doctors out there.
To be honest, there's good white doctors out there.
There's good white doctors out there. A lot of them.
Great white doctors. You know what I'm saying? Let's not get it twisted. But we're talking about the ones that aren't so great. We're talking about the ones, and those are the ones that gives the culture a black eye, because those are the ones that have people dying, having people having miscarriages, having these type of problems that affect our community. Like we have to protect ourselves. The other races don't have to deal with these issues. When they go to the doctor, their opinions is valued, they are listened to, they are understood. We are the ones who have to literally comb through and make sure that the person that's in charge of our health has our best interests at heart. And that goes to the police, that goes to the firemen, that goes to the politicians across the board. We are always put the teachers, talk about it, P. We are always put in a position that we have to make sure that the people that we are dealing with have us in their best interest. And they don't, bro. You know what I mean?
Don't. They don't. We're either a dollar sign or mainly a dollar sign. That's what they see. A number, basically.
Yeah.
You know, they have us in that loaded in that, and that's just one of those things. And I want to be able to deliver information like that because, you know, there might be somebody to see this and say, dang, I didn't know that. That's why that could be wrong. She could be 18, 19, 20 years old, college, you know, and another big thing too, that's tied in and beside that, Big Wall. What's up with HSBCs? You know, got these kids in dorms with mold. They got mushrooms growing out the ceiling. You know, what the heck? They got endowments, all the money they get and all the endowment, and they sit there and cry broke. But you want the mines to go, and a lot of them HSBCUs are expensive too. You know, and everything. They can be expensive, like the Howards and the Lincolns and stuff like that. They can get expensive. I can imagine.
Very much so.
They get expensive. But what's up with the living conditions, man? You can't wait on this what Build Back Better plan for Biden and them. If you're waiting on that, then you know you're what we call your breath. No, you're what we call a new fool. Okay?
Talk about
you can't wait on that. You can't because it ain't going to happen. And these universities have endowments. They get funds and everything else for producing, especially with the STEM technology. You know, with a lot of the STEM schools opening up, and which is very good. I see a lot of Black STEM programs, charter schools and stuff like that. That's opening up, and that's what we need. So that's our next generation of doctors and scientists and everything else that we need that's coming in. But the universities with the living conditions is horrible.
You know what I'm learning, man? They just don't care.
No.
You know what I mean?
It's all about a dollar. It's all about the
the
dollar.
money.
It's all about
that
the money.
dollar. Yeah.
Because the big thing, and I think we was talking about this. I said, you know, you can go to, like, I went to Temple University, okay, in Philadelphia. You know, I can get a better African history, true African history curriculum at Temple than I could at Howard University or
And
at
that don't make
Cheney
no sense.
University, because they don't fund that program that much because they don't want to piss off those donors that's giving that money by making them feel bad because, you know, savagery. You know,
Why are we always trying not to make other people feel bad? Like,
no,
what is that? You know what I mean? That is that.
You did it. You did it.
That is that Stockholm syndrome, brother. I promise
All
you.
the way. All the
We
way.
definitely need to get over that as a culture, as a community. Stop worrying about how your oppressors feel and focus on how your brother and your sister feel. Give us that love and that understanding that you give to every other person on the planet, and you don't give it to us. Like, that is something that I would love to shape. You know what I mean? Because our black women don't feel secure from black men.
No,
they don't feel like we stand up for them.
Address the culture.
They don't feel like we take care of them like we should. And I hate that our black women feel like that. That really boils my water. You know what I'm saying? Because if we don't protect them, who are? You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody else gonna protect them. And I know for me personally, it's nothing like coming home and having a black woman who understands your struggle and understand what you face out there in the world.
Yeah, they understand it. A lot of them don't, though. That's
a lot of them don't.
A lot of them don't because they're watching that reality TV. And I ain't knocking them, you know, because when I was coming up, we ain't have all this with people of color, for real. So the reality TV shows with the ratchetness from the Atlanta, stuff like that, you got to be able to like cross your signal switch.
The Mad State is crazy. The Mad State, especially nowadays with the youngest, just that. You gotta pay me, and you gotta be flown out, and I need a Birkin bag, like that whole little hustle mentality. But it's always been there. We've always had gold diggers, and we've always had ratchet and ghetto, and I never liked that hood. But now it's like it's popular. At one point, it wasn't popular to be a gold digger. It wasn't popular to be a sack chaser. You know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
it wasn't.
They didn't want you to know that. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like, that's what it is. Like
now these girls and there's some out there that don't, and I can tell my experience with granddaughters, but there's a lot of them out there that's looking for them those sugar daddies. They looking for that big daddy.
Yeah.
You want to go shopping today? Daddy. I mean, there ain't nothing, you know, I mean, if that's what that guy's into, what they call tricking.
Yeah, but it ain't tricking if you got it, though. You know what I'm talking about?
It ain't tricking if you got it. It ain't tricking. It really isn't. It really isn't. So you know, and that's what goes on. And again, I don't knock it because, you know, what's the other term they call it? The women's cougars.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it goes.
Grandma. That's Big Mama. You know
that's Big Mama.
That's Big Mama.
Big Mama out there. Big Mama, 40 years old, pregnant by a 22-year-old.
Oh, man. And Big Mama looking good, too. You know
looking good. Trying to figure it out. Wondering why you gonna bully this man well, not even a man, bully this boy into being responsible for this baby and force the resistance, and you just, you know, raising a kid on your own, you know, until that person gets mature enough to understand I'm gonna take responsibility for my seed, you know, along the way, and that's what happens. But that's funny though. Big Mama's out doing electric slide, and not even electric slide. I ain't even gonna say that. They out there doing just what out there with her daughter, dancing right next to her daughter. You know, and women is funny. Now think about this, Big Wall. And another woman told me this. They said they went to I think it was a Chris Brown concert, a T Breezy concert.
Oh,
Back when he was probably just hitting the market. He was 16, 17 years old going out there. And he said there's women out there older than her, their moms and aunts out there going hard at him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that could be a rape charge.
They'll give him a taste, too. They'll give him a taste.
Oh, real quick,
real quick. We'll give him a little taste, real quick.
Oh, he had a taste for real.
Yeah.
Going through the door, he had a taste for real.
Yeah. That's
so he knew what he was getting.
If you know, you know. You know what I'm talking
about? Yeah. But listen, but that's what happens, you know. And for men, you know, and she said she felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
For me, when I go to a high school football game, you know, I'm so glad right now. Grandson's out of high school, you know, even some of the college games, we go to these college stadiums, man, but the high school is worse. You go to these high school games and these girls, you're walking into the stadium up to see the high school game. And this girl was walking with booty shorts on up her yin yang, walking next to her dad to go into the game, jiggling all over the place.
Look, she
wouldn't have left the house.
She wouldn't have left the house.
No way.
Come on, man.
No way you leave the house. If you don't change your damn clothes, come on here.
Girl, you need to find yourself. If you don't go find your life somewhere, little girl, or go put some clothes on, it's gonna be smoke in the city. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
It's so uncomfortable. They make you feel uncomfortable.
And they be uncomfortable because they be pulling them, adjusting themselves all night. You feel uncomfortable.
Conscientious about it. Yeah,
that's a fact.
How you wear that stuff to the game? It don't be one, two. It be a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But the thing that blew me off is they be walking to the game with their parents. They go through the gate. The parents go where they go, and they go on with their friends with their ass cheeks sticking out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, how the hell they let that happen?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, she'd be beat to sleep.
Come on.
You know, messing with me, you know, in the crib. You know, you ain't getting out the house with the booty.
I know.
We had problems, especially my wife, boy. They had problems with their granddaughter that's grown. You know, with going out like that. Well, why you got that dress on? You can't tell her how to dress. She's going to dress how she
grown now. She grown.
She's grown. If her parents ain't saying nothing, why? What?
Yeah.
You know, why?
And see, that goes back to what we was talking about earlier. The parents not saying nothing. And then you come in and invoking your parental control, like, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. And in their mind, ain't nothing wrong with it. And their parents' mind, ain't nothing wrong with it. Why you correcting my child? You see what I'm saying? And that's where that village break up. You know what I'm saying?
That's when the village break up. And usually that's because the mom and them, they sharing them clothes.
Yeah.
You know,
Mama bought her the outfit.
Yeah, mama bought her the outfit. Yeah. You know, those situations. Oh, I'm wearing that next Friday when we go to the, you know, okay, yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
But hey, and on top of that, you know, and I like to always stress, and it's important, you know, especially for the younger generations, to know that, you know, the only thing they teach you in school and everything about that is that you are a slave, you come from slaves or whatever. That's not true. Don't even take that. You want to take that, and you want to make sure that you learn as much as about your true history, because they don't know and they don't want you to know. Yeah. And again, it's all by design. You got to know that you are descendants of the builders of everything.
The creators of everything.
The creators of everything on this planet.
Literally.
On this planet. And for those that say, oh, but the aliens came down and gave the technology. Yep, they gave it to some black men, to some Africans.
That's a fact.
And we ran with it. Because
Go through the invention list.
Do with it. Yeah.
Go through the invention list and take away this. Take away everything that black people invented game. And you just take away everything that we invented and look at the world.
Yeah.
And that would explain everything. Because if you took away everything that we contribute to the world, it wouldn't be one.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. And for them to even think about, you know, they will talk about exterminating us or whatever else, you know, and I wouldn't be surprised there's a group of people like that, you know.
Absolutely. They all just ran into the Capitol building. It's definitely a group of them.
And that's a big group. Every single state in the United States
Yeah.
have a hate
Yeah.
group.
Multiple
Multiple hate
multiple.
groups. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Montana has the most per capita.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
they
Yeah,
got the
Trump,
most per capita, and it's one of the smallest in populations.
Trump
So
literally named one. He said, well, you remember he said, stand by Proud Boys? Well, you know,
yeah.
that Proud Boys is literally an organization. Their name is that. So he called them out by name. You know what I'm saying? To let y'all know that we're not playing. You know
We're
what
not
I'm saying?
playing.
Nah.
And they flipped him and caught him anyway. They caught him, them Proud Boy dudes, and got them flipping because they thought they was getting pardoned for their actions. And no, sir.
Yeah.
No, sir, you're not getting pardoned. You're going away for a long
Get
time.
out, Quavo.
You should. And I think they would. Because get out of here. Yeah, what you say, Cuervo? That's it,
Quavo.
for real. That's it.
That's a fact.
That's it.
Yeah.
But you know, and all of that, you know, the thinking in terms of that. So that's why we stress that, and I do be more harder on our people to a sense that we know what we got to do. We know what time it is. You know, we got to start teaching your kids the right way of doing things and to strive to achieve better things.
Absolutely.
Don't play the video games, create them. You know, don't you know, don't paint the buildings, build them.
Address the culture,
don't
P.
clean the buildings. Don't clean the buildings, build them. You know, don't, you know, be that. And believe me, we need electricians and we need plumbers and we need doctors and we need lawyers and serious people to go on. And if you want to dabble in that politics, that's up to you. That politics is
because we got enough rappers. We got enough basketball players. We got enough football players. We got that covered. You know what I'm talking about? Like P just said, we need some doctors, some lawyers, some electricians, some pharmacists. You know what I'm saying? Some librarians. It's other professions out here that can definitely help our culture and our community grow. You know what I mean?
And are lucrative.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Think about it. Whenever you're skilled, when you're a carpenter, you're your own business.
Absolutely.
You can work for somebody or you can work for yourself.
Man, I got a partner that I interviewed. His name Booby Sosa, and he got a concrete business. You know what I'm saying?
And that's a rough job. That's a rough business.
But it's so lucrative because
it is lucrative.
You can go to anywhere in the planet, and they always need somebody who know how to build concrete and make concrete and make structures. You know what I'm saying? Like that is always a need for that profession. So he could get contracts all over. You know what I'm saying?
All over the world.
Yep. And that type of business is stuff that we don't think about. You know what I'm saying? Those type of business is outside of the box, but it's a job that you will always be able to make money.
Always be able to make money.
Yeah.
You know, that's the foundation, the backbone of these communities, because first you got to build the schools. So you need the carpenters to build the schools so the teachers can teach, you know, so you can live and everything else. So in the hospitals, so the doctors can operate. You know, that's why schools and hospitals and community centers all became one building and that's where the community center thing came from, because that's all we had is one place, everything, one stop. Yeah. Go see your doctor, your dentist, you know, go to school around downstairs in the back, you know, whatever, you know, but to make it happen. But that's how it got to go. Everybody can't, like you said, can't be a rapper. You ain't going to the NBA, the NFL. Yeah. You know, I mean, if you're good at playing baseball, I recommend play baseball. Yeah. If I tell anybody, play baseball, you know, and we got to get ready to get out of here. I don't want to keep up, but one of the things I always talk about, too, Big Wall, is you look at hockey, and a lot of people don't think about this. What's the difference when you look at these sports? You look at hockey, baseball, tennis, golf, and whatever else, but those are the main ones: tennis, golf, hockey, baseball. And then you look at football and basketball. Okay, you know what's different about all them sports? The main difference: the first for golf, tennis, swimming, maybe even too, hockey, baseball. Those sports you can go straight from high school into sports, earning a paycheck. Okay,
basketball too.
Basketball, yeah, but they, you know, for a while they make you go 1 year now.
They changed it though. They changed it back. They changed it back.
They changed it back. Okay,
yeah, they changed it back. They was like that, but they took it back. You know what I mean? You go straight from high school.
Yeah,
I'm not for sure about the NFL, but
NFL you got to play 2 years.
You got to play 2 years. Yeah,
and maybe the difference is, but what's the difference in NFL running and crashing than hockey? You sliding across ice, 40, 50 miles an hour and smashing somebody into a board, So
and it's not guaranteed in football.
Yeah,
they don't get guaranteed contracts. Yeah,
all the others do.
Yeah.
And that's the gladiator of the gladiator sport out there, and I hate to bust their bubbles, but hockey was invented by some African Americans.
Look. You know what? It's the truth. It's the truth. And you know what? Just me being who I am, like I can just imagine, being white when you hear black people saying, yeah, we started everything, sounding like Little Richard. You know what I'm saying? I was the inventor of everything. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sorry, it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's the truth. And it's up to us to acknowledge what we have contributed to this world. You know what I mean? Because we are the ones that's lost in translation. We are the ones that don't understand our value because we have been so brainwashed over all these decades and all this time of this systemic racism and this not just systemic, just torture and beaten and killed, and like it's been a lot of trauma to our community. So us voicing what we've contributed and us standing on what we believe and want to talk about it, it's needed. You know what I'm saying? Because we the ones that don't know it. Either we don't know it or we so far gone that us knowing it is not even care. They don't care. You know what I'm saying? And we need to get some of that back. You know what I'm saying? We need to get some of that understanding and some of that knowledge and that strength behind us because we don't have it. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad. It really is. You know what I mean? But conversations like this, you know what I'm saying? Us doing what we do, hopefully it's sparking a mind state.
Gets through to people. That's all we can do.
That's all we can do.
Is to get that message out. You have to go run with it, study, do your research.
Yeah.
Don't take nobody's word. Yeah. Do your own research.
Yeah.
Do your own. That's what everything. The Bible, everything. Don't let somebody tell you what the Bible says.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go read that Bible and see if that's what you want. You go read that Quran if that's what you're going to do. You don't let somebody else dictate it to you. That's your spirituality. It's up to you, and that's very serious. But yeah, Big Wall hit it right on the head, though. You gotta, that's what we do. That's what we want to do to get these things out. There's going to be more because, there's nonstop that I be looking. Two things. One thing I find out, another big thing, a lot of the pet peeve, a lot of black women catch flack about the weave, about weaves and wearing extensions and everything. Where there's a good video floating around, I guess it's TikTok, where they're on the phone, or Instagram, when they're on the phone and they show a picture of somebody getting a wig put on and it snaps so hard on their head that the girl said, it sounds like a trunk slam, sound like a book clap. One looked like it did, they were laughing. But, that goes back for years, and there's reasons, because you think about it, when what's going on today, everything is, whenever they came out was down in Ebonics. No, Ebonics isn't Ebonics. Ebonics is us in touch with our heritage, when we sounded stuff out and everything. This English stuff was made up by the Romans, so, that's where that comes from.
We are inventors.
Yeah.
We are motivators. You know what I'm saying? We create the culture. We dictate what's going on. We set the bar. You know what I mean? So everything that we do is something that the other races on this planet are going to copy. Let's just be clear. You know what I mean?
They watch what we do.
Everything.
Make money off of
Everything. You know what I mean?
Our slang, our dress, everything. They take our dress and everything else, but I ain't wearing those skinny leg jeans and stuff like that. I'm not doing none of that stuff. I'm still a baggy jean and Timbo guy, so I still in a sense,
ain't nothing wrong with being tailored up. You know what I'm saying? Like
every once when you have to be.
Yeah, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't a fan of the skinny leg, skinny jeans, and none of that neither. I'm still not. But when you look back to how baggy them clothes used to be.
Yeah. My
You look
people
back. You
said
say,
that.
"Oh man, we was bugging. We was tripping a little bit."
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Your
about?
true size is a large, and you got on a 3X
Yeah,
and
for the
4X.
4X.
Yeah.
This look crazy. This look
Or
crazy.
two X's, sweatshirts stuff. I didn't mind. I got a bunch of free clothes. Once I got older, I got a bunch of free clothes. Yeah. What you going to do with those? Give them here. I can use that coat right there. I mean, all that money, and even if I don't, I know what to do with it though. I know what to take it to get money. This is vintage clothing. Put in the vintage stuff. Ain't that right? This is vintage clothing. Don't throw that and give that away. This is vintage clothing. They pay a lot of money on the internet for
Yeah,
this.
it's gonna come back around the block. Trust me.
Yeah, it all comes
Just
back.
hold on. Just hold on.
It's a
Because Baggy
cycle.
is back. Baggy slowly coming back in. You know what I mean?
You got to, because I guess they figured out you can't fight in them jeans. You can't run from the police. You can't do that. You can't jump a fence. You see bugs look like I see dudes run down the street. I started to run. It looked like 3 Gumbies coming at me. Oh, what the hell is this? I take off. But listen, leave them jeans alone. But going back to the weave and the hair, they found a burial site. This is a newer in Egypt, right? Ancient burial site where they found a couple of, they have the queen or the king or whoever's burial chamber it is, and there were their gifts, their gold sarcophagus and everything else. But sometimes they used to they'll mummify their pets and they'll mummify their favorite servants. Y'all all gonna die, You better. That's why. Don't let the queen die. Everybody coming with me, and I want that chair and them gold trinkets with me too. But archaeologists found when they went in, they was trying to pinpoint. It was funny. They stumbled on it. They was trying to identify who this high priestess was in her burial chamber, and they found some young girls mummified, and the hair. Usually when they wrap it, what they say, good black don't crack. They crack me up. They're mummified. You're preserved, but they remove all your organs and put them in the little jars and stuff outside the sarcophagus. So they found that that when they was looking, they was examining the hair, and then they found that the hair was, of course they identified it was African descent. Okay, the hair, but but it wasn't their own hair. It was weave or extension in the burial graves.
Let me find out they had lace fronts back in them days.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Especially when they go to die. So, fellas, you can't, before I used to sit there, hey, no. But you see, you got to think about the young poor girls back in the day. They used to, cut their hair to sell it, to get food to feed their families. So they used that hair in burials, like girls that, were like, the servants and stuff of that high priestess that were going in that chamber and really couldn't afford the sarcophagus and all that stuff that they got. So how they did it was they buy the weave and get their hair weaved up and to make their hair look good. So on the other side, the high priestess will see them and recognize them, for their hair. Oh, your hair is like mine. Come on, let's go. So weave's been around forever.
And I bet you it was a status statement as well, too.
I bet you it was too, because back in those times, like the sacred color, the rich color was purple.
Yeah.
If you had some purple, you was doing something.
You had a little money.
Like today you see somebody with some purple shoes on, like look at that dude over there. How you doing that with the purple shoes on, that purple suit on? But hey. We flashy like that. We get flashy. Yeah. Now they got the subtle purple suits. Is that purple or blue or but you can't tell. But yeah. So so back in that time it did. We were number one in beauty and beauty supplies and beauty aids. So I'm just saying there's a lot of history. There's a lot more. Don't listen to that slavery stuff, and all that stuff. We were already here. The slaves. Most of the slaves went to the islands, the Caribbeans and Jamaica and Brazil. They even took more down there because they was killing out the ones that was already there, slaving them to death in the cane fields and everything. So now that's the slavery part. You got to go back and look at what they call the Middle Ages or the Dark Ages, and prior to that, leading up to that. But you'll find out that everything known to mankind and the European today comes from the African. You know, they call them Moor, but all Moor mean is black, basically.
Absolutely. And you know, at this point, it's so much knowledge that you can find. And it's not that you can, the knowledge is going to do anything. It's not going to change anything. But what it will do, it will give you confidence. It will give you a sense of understanding to know who you are and pride. And that right there alone can change everything. You know what I'm saying?
That right there.
Once you find out your value and your worth and know your stock and just know you are not what this world portray you to be, it opens up your mind and your world to a whole different thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we want to do on Address the Culture.
That's what we want to do. Open you up and show the other side and uplift you and let you know. And we don't have nothing against, you know, the European or the white people. In
Zero.
General. Nothing. It's nothing against them. It's just that, you know, we're here. We come from the race of nurturers. You know, we nurtured this earth. To get rid of us is like killing all the honeybees. You kill all the honeybees, nothing to pollinate. You kill us, there's nothing to pollinate the earth. No one to work the dirt. You know, to reclaim the dirt. So you know that's keep your head up, discipline your kids, seek better medical help, seek second opinions. You know, especially for the ladies and everything out there. And I'm keeping a close watch, Big Wall, going into next week to go. I'm keeping a close lookout. I'm watching the Ahmaud Mayberry trial with the jury selection going on, and I'm watching this Kyle Rittenhouse trial.
Yeah, me too. And those are both cases that we are going to pay close attention to here on the platform because we want to keep you guys informed with everything that's going on in the culture when we talk about injustice and that police brutality and everything that affects our culture. So we definitely going to keep you guys in tune with everything that's going on with the culture, good, bad, and the ugly.
All day long. All day long.
You already know the vibes. We will be back next week with the same type of energy, same type of vibe. We might even have a guest for you. You never know. Yep. But just tune in with us every Wednesday right here on Address the Culture. You already know the vibes. This is your boy, Big Wall.
And I'm P.stock.
And like I always say, your culture makes you who you are. So make sure they respect it. We're going to catch you on the next episode. Yep. Up out of here.
Peace.
It's 64 boy.
Scratch.
Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture, huh?